At the end of the last video, we have a simple React Native app here, and I actually changed the endpoint over into the fake Theta server that emulates the RICOH Theta camera. And we can see a list of the files here. We're going to use the list of files to extract the URL endpoint. To do this, I'm going to create a modification to the endpoint. So this is still a fake server here. And instead of fake theta, I created a new one called fake theta alpha. So if I get the list of files here, the file URL is on this fake data server. So if I click here, the way it works is the output is it's a URL endpoint, so we can just grab it here. So we need to first extract the last file URL and then use the last file URL in a React Native Expo image. So to show you that it works the same on a physical camera, we're going to comment out the fake server. We'll use the real server. We'll get the list of files. So this is a physical device camera. And here we have this endpoint, which is a IP address. So open it up. And this is the physical camera here. With the physical device, RICOH Theta X, we'll first take a picture. And the camera takes the picture. We're next going to get the list of files here. And it also, I'm printing out to the console. So if I do the control click here and open it up, it'll open up in a browser here. So the process is exactly the same. Like, we'll get the list of files. I'll just use this fake server for testing, so you don't need a physical device. And at the end of it, once we need to parse this file to extract the last file URL. But once we do that, you'll be able to get the URL and we'll display it here on the mobile app. If you look at the output of list files, you'll notice that there's a JSON object here, results, entries, and the entries here is a list, or it's an array. And within each entry, there's a file URL here. Within Theta control, I'm going to create a new file for, first we'll get the file URL. Last file URL button control.js. And on this repository we have this JavaScript, fake theta. There's an example here of how to get the last file URL, which we're going to need to modify. So I'm going to copy the contents of this right here. And I'll place it into this new file. But we've changed it a bit, so we don't need that part. And we're actually grabbing the file URL here, which is in the results. So it's this one right here, or this one right here. And it's actually the file URL, and we're going to return it. So we'll make it into a function. So we'll change this to the file URL. And we'll make it into a function. We'll get a const last file URL button control equals we're going to accept a URL endpoint, same as in the previous video. Endpoint. So we can adjust it on the fly eventually. And I'll move the curly bracket down to the end. And we'll make it async. Async. And we'll export it. We don't need this line. So the key thing is that you get the data, right? It's the data is this entire thing, and then you're looking for the results. From the results, you grab the entries right here, and then the entries is a list. So we're getting the first item in the list, which is the most recent picture that was taken, and from the most recent item, we're going to grab the first URL. So in app.js, we'll follow the same convention where I'll import it. And there's an auto import here of that specific file. Then I'll add the button in. So we'll go down to the end. And we'll look at the layout to see how it looks. Okay, so we'll make the last one, we'll change it to URL, and we'll last file URL. Is that right? So if I press the URL, we'll get the URL from the fake server because I have the API endpoint assigned to the fake server. And this is the first image on the fake server. There's no way to add new images up to the fake server because I don't have a camera attached to the fake server, but there's 15 or 16 images up here. So we could look at the individual images by just, if you increment this, it'll be the next image. And so we get the URL, and the image has been incremented. You can see with the file name, and it's this second image in the list here. But I'm going to keep it at the first image. Okay, so I just realized that I hadn't changed the URL endpoint here, so we'll do the string interpolation. So I'll change it to the backtick, change it to the backtick. We'll get rid of the OSC. I'll go $, and these two left and right curly brackets, and I'll go URL endpoint. Some connection problems with the camera, but let's try it again. Okay. And if we look at it in the web browser, you see I'm working hard here. Go back to the camera, take a picture. It took a picture. You can get the URL, we'll do control click, open it, and here we are. I'm going to change the URL endpoint back to the fake theta alpha. And just a reminder, this fake theta alpha has some fake storage on it that I've modified from fake theta. In the app.js file at the top where you have the import statement for React Native, import the image component with a capital I. It's a core component, so it's built in. And then at the bottom, we're going to drop in the image component. I'm going to wrap it within a view component just in case we want to adjust the spacing or the styling or the layout later with the styling. And inside the view component, I'm going to drop in an image component. The image component requires both a size and the source URI. So back in the styles.js file, I have specified this theta image with a width of 400 and height of 200. The camera images are in a 2:1 aspect ratio in equirectangular format. So any ratio preserving the 2:1 aspect ratio would be good. So in the image tag, we're going to go styles equals and style equals, and then curly brackets, the name of the styles, so styles.theta image. And I forgot the ending curly bracket here, so I'm going to need to fix that in the future. There should be an end bracket after the theta image. But then let's drop in the source URI, which we're getting from the fake storage. So this is simulating an image that's supposed to be on the camera. Just to recap, the camera does have the images inside the camera available as URI endpoints. So this is a hard-coded image. It's working from the fake storage, which is simulating the RICOH THETA storage inside the camera. And we'll flip it over to the actual camera at the end of the video. So we eventually want to switch this over into a URL. Maybe I'll put it right at the image right at the bottom first. So the app.js file, again, we're going to create a constant for using React hooks. And we'll use the use state of React. So we'll create the constant as theta image URI and on-change theta image URI. And then we have to set this to the use state, and I forgot to write use state in there. And we'll grab a placeholder image to start off with so we can get the layout going. So we drop it in and adjust it to some type of 400 by 200. I'm going to adjust the colors of that placeholder image a little bit later in the video. So we'll delete the hard-coded string for the URL of the image, and we're going to replace it with the variable name, which is we just set up in the React useState, the hook. So it'll be theta image URI. That's the one we just set up. And I need to go back up and add use state in front of this. I just forgot to type it in. And close off the parentheses. So that's the default value of that theta image URL. I'm going to use the existing URL button as the way to trigger the change of the image. So when we want to view the latest image, we'll have to click on the URL button. And I'll use that method that we just created, the on-change theta image URI. We just created at the top of this app.js file. And we're going to pass in the new data. So I think I have the data format wrong. So I'm going to go back into this last file URL button control, and it's not a stringify, it's just a string. We'll return a string for the file URL. And just another heads up that I changed the placeholder image to use the orange color for the initial, just liked a little bit better look for it. So in that first, the state, it's had that orange placeholder image. We click on the button and it'll change it over to the new image. Other than changing the URL endpoint at the top of the file, no other change to the code is needed. It works fantastic with the physical camera. You can take a picture and it will display the last image from the camera. I'll post instructions for the sample code and the images, or the URI endpoints, everything that you need to do in this community. The link will be in the description. This is video 2 of the simple tutorial for React Native Expo.